And I remember walking around town in this grief of this mum who'd lost her 7-year-old and thinking, how can they still be shopping? Like, how can they be having a normal conversation when I'm in this so much grief of bubble? And then you suddenly realise, well, hold on, how do you know that person's shoulders hasn't got a bubble of grief? How do you know that person hasn't got a bubble of worries? How do you know that person's not got a bubble of happiness? So actually, can you not just treat people so much nicer that actually you can't see their bubble? So, it just, if you treat them nicely, you don't, then that might make their day a bit easier. And it might, and then when I started doing workshops, I remember one lady came on the first workshop I did, and she was awful. She was in the worst mood ever, and she was just very negative, very no. And by the end of the workshop, we had looked after her and protected her and pampered her, and she walked out of there and she was just like, I needed that. And I think that's how we should all approach life.
Hello, my name is Nicole and welcome to another episode of the Big Chat Takeover Roadshow here at Castlemas in Tonbridge. Nearly Christmas 2021. It's very exciting. We've had some really great guests on and I was like, who else can I talk to? I've got a little bit of time. And I thought there's a very special lady who I've known for a long, long time. She's a great entrepreneur, business owner. She's done lots for the community. She does lots of events and she's here. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to get her in and have a chat with her. So I'm introducing you all to a friend of mine, Laura from Freckles. Hello, Laura. How are you?
Not too bad.
Yeah, I kind of caught you on the hop a bit, haven't I?
Yeah. I was carrying bread at the time, so a bit more,
Just carrying bread.
Just standard.
Just standard.
Laura, really.
Literally, I just went on and said to your team, I was like, is Laura there? I'd want to talk to her, please. Is she around? Yeah, she's in the car. She's just parking. Perfect. Get her in. So you're here today as you're here as a vendor, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm here with two hats, really.
Yeah.
So I've got my first hat, which is the catering side of it.
Yeah.
And that's staying for the whole 10 days for Castlemas. And then I've got Freckles hat. So that's doing 2 different workshops over the course. So that's just teaching some kids some nice little crafting activities.
Brilliant. So, I mean, for people that don't know about Freckles, tell people a bit about Freckles. And also you're a part of it's your cafe, isn't it, in Tunbridge Wells? Because we're here in Tunbridge, but obviously we're Tunbridge Wells as well. So just tell people that are listening and watching a bit about you.
So Freckles started, my boy, so he's 7, so 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Totally different beast from when we started it to what it really is now. But it's all about creative pampering. And that's kind of like the anchor of it, is to get kids and adults crafting a bit more. And I'm not talking about like preschool, here's some empty toilet rolls, let's make some binoculars. Like, they're really nice craft kits and things that people will treasure and remember. So we started off with workshops, we evolved into doing parties, we then took the next step into doing festivals, and then out of all of that kind of grew the product side of it. So I've watched children craft, I've looked at the different activities and how they do it and what inspires them. And so I then sort of sat and developed my own product range of craft kits. So all kind of completely made, glass of wine, blank piece of paper. Possibly not the best way to start brainstorming but it works for me. So.
It's all right, glass of wine and a piece of paper, that sounds brilliant to me.
I know, but then something should be a coffee, maybe some like mint tea, but no glass of wine. And so that's, and it's now developed into sort of a product range, which actually I'm really proud of. And I do events mainly up in London, and we sort of ship sort of products everywhere, and it's lovely because the response I get from people is really nice. Because they're not naff craft kits. And definitely for me, having a girl and a boy, a lot of it was about, and I would go into a shop and I'd be like, for my boy, where are the craft kits for boys? And they'd just point you at Lego, and I'm like, no, that's Lego. I get it, he loves Lego, great, got all of that, but I want him to be crafting. And there's just not that there for them, or it's packaged in pink, or it's got girls doing it. So there's all these barriers to boys just doing a bit of crafting. And, you know, my view, I mean, I shouldn't get on the soapbox of boys and craft really, but
get on it.
Go on.
We'll have a soapbox. Get on it. Go on.
So it was, you know, you kind of end up in a space where, you know, parents be like, oh yeah, my girl loves crafting, my boy not so much. And yes, they are later to it, definitely. I feel like B popped out and she was like, where's the colouring? Let's get crafting. Whereas Boo, it was a bit more like, let's run around the garden, let's kick a football. And it took longer, sorry, I had issues. It took longer for him to evolve into doing sort of drawing or modelling. And I suppose because, you know, they've got to be on brand, so they've got to craft, they always had to be part of their lives. And I can see what parents say, that if their boys don't show as much interest in it, you just don't offer it up as much.
Yeah.
So generally with boys, we pull it out of their system. We de-skill them in it because we're not offering it to them. So when I was doing the craft kits, I really wanted it to be something that actually would engage boys, wouldn't take a long time. They don't, you know, yes, they may want to spend 90% of their time running around outside, but actually that 10% when they're inside doesn't need to be in front of a screen. It can actually be doing something where they've got a busy hand and a settled mind. And that's kind of the premise really of the products and the festivals.
I mean, I've known you for a while because we've obviously got children. Our children go to, well, one of mine's gone now, but primary school, and you know, we've had children, and so you've always been incredibly creative, and then you've done something recently as well. I mean, I've done a few things with you. We did knitting, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that was crochet, that was amazing. We did the crochet. Yeah. I loved all of that. You've always done really, and you've done things with obviously the soapbox. You've helped us, and you've been really involved in the community. Yeah. And you've got 2 children and you're quite busy, and then there's all these things going on, and then a couple of years ago you thought, oh, I know, why don't I do something else? I mean, a lady after my own heart. Yes. So obviously for those that, you know, we're at an amazing venue today. We're in the castle. It's all about Castlemas. We've got this great Igloo. We've got another great venue, which is obviously in Tonbridge Wells, is Calverley Grounds. Yeah. And there's a cafe at Calverley Grounds, isn't there? Yeah. Tell us about that.
So that was, I'm a shocker. I'm literally, my husband's like, I just don't know how to protect you from yourself. And I'm like, I don't know if that's possible. So that was, I was on a run, running around Tunbridge Wells, and stumbled on this really cute little bowls pavilion. And at the time I was kind of thinking I wanted a home for workshops. I was thinking, you know, it'd be lovely if I could have a space where people can come, they can craft, they can just connect and just be, you know. And it's in this stunning park. At the time it was just this sort of green bowls, disused bowls, sort of grass in front of it. That's evolved now, and it's now this amazing adventure playground that's been built by the lady who built the Diana playground up in London. So it's very wood based, it's very exploratory, it's very cause and effect in its approach to play. And so now we've opened up a cafe, and it's a community cafe there, and I'm quite particular about the food. I'm quite particular about the coffee. I'm quite particular about the service and my team. And so everybody needs to be spoken to. Everybody needs to be treated with respect. And, you know, for us, if there's a kid crying, you stop what you're doing, you go into the bubbles drawer, you get the bubbles out, and you go and find the kid. And, you know, it's not about profit. It's not about money. Possibly it should be.
No.
That would be better. That might
heart comes first, money follows.
Exactly. And actually that's always been the hope, you know, that actually that will evolve. But actually, you know, we do workshops there, we do yoga, we do fitness classes.
Do you?
Yeah, so if you're on a lower income, you just come to us and say, I'd like a free space, and you get free space. If you are on a low income and you can't afford lunch, you just come and say, can I have a free lunch? And you get a free lunch. And there's no proof of it. I don't want to see a bank balance. I don't, you know, we did a vision boarding with my friend Emma, who runs Mystical Thinking, and someone came and said, I'm having a hard time, I really would like to do this, but I don't have the cash. And she came, she sat and she had lunch, and no one else knew, and she just sent us this email afterwards saying how it was lovely that she was able to do that, because that is just not part of her world at that moment. And, you know, and times with her may change or evolve, or they may not. And it's just about giving people a space, and they can come in, and it's, you know, it is beautiful. We have aura sprays that get sprayed every morning in the area, and, you know, so it's about connecting people and connecting the community in a really honest and natural way.
You've always been big about community, haven't you? Is that where's that come from?
I don't know. I don't know really. It's just always been humanity.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't. And I've always been, let 4 people out of that, school as they're coming out, and let that person who's standing by the side of the road cross the road. You know, I just don't understand how people can't do that.
I don't
I don't get, if we all looked out, and maybe it's an awareness thing, they're so engrossed in their own world and their own moment that they can't see the rest of the world behind you. I suppose for me, I lost my friend lost her little boy quite a few years ago, and I remember walking around town in this grief of this mum who'd lost her 7-year-old and thinking, how can they still be shopping? Like, how can they be having a normal conversation when I'm in this, there's so much grief of bubble. And then you suddenly realise, well, hold on, how do you know that person's shoulders hasn't got a bubble of grief? How do you know that person hasn't got a bubble of worries? How do you know that person's not got a bubble of happiness? So actually, can you not just treat people so much nicer that actually you can't see their bubble? So, it just, if you treat them nicely, you don't, then that might make their day a bit easier. And it might, and then when I started doing workshops, I remember one lady came on the first workshop I did, and she was awful. She was in the worst mood ever, and she was just very negative, very no. And by the end of the workshop, we had looked after her and protected her and pampered her, and she walked out of there, and she was just like, I needed that. And I think that's how we should all approach life.
I think so too. I think so. Well said. Well said. Yeah. I mean, obviously with lockdown, because certainly with the cafe, I mean, obviously we're here at Castlemas, but you're a business owner, and that's, multiple. And how was that? Because that would have been tough for you. Literally, you went through quite a big process to get that cafe.
Yeah, I did.
It was a lot of competition. You did really well. Well done.
Yeah.
And you got that. And then obviously you kind of, I know I saw you during that. I think I've got a beautiful chair of yours, actually. Thank you very much. in my lounge, but literally, you had all of that. How was that? How did you keep going with that?
So to be honest, actually, we thought coming out of it we would be in a better space now, and actually we're not. We're in a worse space now with both businesses than we've ever been in. So the inside, we never really knew where we were going with it. We never really knew what a normal year was like. I mean, it is in the middle of a park. It is hugely weather dependent. And so the community did come out when we opened, and then we got shut down, and then we reopened. But because we were all locked into our own community at that point, actually the inside was okay. And I remember the council saying to me, oh, you can apply for this grant. And I was like, oh, I don't need it. It's okay. We're breaking even. I can pay my staff. I don't pay myself. I can pay my staff. We're breaking even. It's fine. They were like, no, it's there for you. And I was like, give it to somebody who really needs it though, because we're okay. And they couldn't understand why I was turning down this money, because I was like, no, but there must be another business who's not breaking even, that's on the brink of going under. I'm not at that. But actually now I'm like, I am at the brink of going under, and it is really dire. Every day is really dire. So that's why we're doing, we sort of, every jump is like a hope that it will turn it around, and hopefully Castlemas will be part of that. And and a lot of it is about exposure, and a lot of it is about people knowing who we are and understanding what we're about. So
well, hopefully they will now. They've listened to you today, because everyone needs to go. And that's the thing as well, isn't it? People need to show support, because I think it's very easy for people to sort of look from the outside in and think, oh, they're doing really well. Oh, look, they're fabulous. Oh, their products, their crafts are such great quality. They must be doing really well, and they don't realise all the heart and all the energy and all the money and investment that's gone into that. And without people supporting, you can't keep doing it.
Exactly. And especially from the craft, the Freckles business is really tricky. I mean, a lot of that was based on events, which just haven't happened. The product side of it is exposure, and I don't have the money to invest in exposure. So how do you get exposure? And and I do think you're right. A load of people look at you and go, God, that must be doing really well. But in actual fact, when you scratch under the surface, I mean, I'm quite honest with people. They're like, how's things? I'm like, dire, how are you? Really bad. But anyway, and I do think, we've got very easy to click our finger. This is the Amazon success story of lockdown, right? I mean, and I'm doing the same. I'm the same. It's so much easier now just to order my shampoo on Amazon, or whatever. So it's fastest finger first, and it really has become that. And I think yes, there's a drive to support local, and I do think people do that. But that is an intention, and it's then another step to do it and seek it out, because that's hard work. To shop local and shop independent London, it is so much easier to go on Amazon, buy their top 5 reviews, tick a list, done, you've sorted it.
Absolutely.
But when you shop local, you are shopping with a heart. And I can absolutely, I mean, it's not necessarily from Freckles, but anyone. I pretty much have bought all of my Christmas on Etsy.
Yeah.
You know, because they are all made by makers. And when they've come and they've been delivered, you can see it. You can see it. It's packaged beautifully. You know, an individual's hands packaged that, not a machine.
I think it is as well, like you say, with heart, because I think now I've got much more like I'd rather be, you know, I've been more creative this year with gifts and all kinds of things, because I just, rather than just buying something that feels a bit thoughtless.
Yeah.
And, you know, and also like you say about businesses, it is tricky, because I think it's very easy, you know, we're the same. It's very easy for people to say, oh, they're doing really well. They don't realise quite how much investment and quite how much energy you're putting into it.
Yeah.
And you need the support of people to get behind it. But also there's businesses that have thrived in lockdown. There are many, but there are businesses now that are coming out and having to start paying back bounce back loans. I'm one of those, and all kinds of things. And it's still troubled times.
Really,
it's you know, without being like negative, it put a positive spin on it. People need to get behind them and support them. And if people are doing well, then get out there and support some of the businesses that aren't. Yeah. So we can all benefit from it, is what I would say.
And I think, you know, especially when you are a business, that when you do put so much energy into it, every time that you kind of hit a wall, a little bit of energy crumbles off of you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, and that's where you've got to be picked up, and that's where I'm picked up by when I see kids crafting the workshop we're doing here today. We're going to be making Christmas crowns, and that'll pick me up a little bit, put a little bit of plaster back on the walls, you know. And that's where you get picked up. Like, we did an event up in London last weekend, and I'd done a craft kit, and a kid had bought it last year, and the kid was telling me about how much energy they'd done it, and it come out this Christmas, and that picked me up a bit more again. So it's the good news is out there, but I agree, people do need to make that conscious effort if they can to support local and small businesses. You know, it's not just about local, it's about small as well.
Definitely. So what do you think, I mean, you've been in events a long time, you know, we've talked about many events. What do you think of this?
Oh, it's gorgeous,
Castlemas.
isn't it? It's just lovely.
I love it.
It's like a little bit of London.
It is.
Just come down. It's nice. It's really nice. And it's actually bringing the magic in. You know, my little girl under that snow last night was parents were walking past, and I think she thought they were smiling at her, going, oh, look at that kid now covered in snow. And I think actually what they were saying is like smiling and then looking at their kids and going, you're not doing that, by the way. And she just came back to me like completely covered in snow. I was like,
brilliant.
Good. But, you know, she had a whale of a time, and she's gone with stories for her brother, and, you know, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's energetic, and it's magical, and it's cozy and warm, you know.
And you're here, obviously, so you're doing your workshops, which is great. And the workshops today, this weekend, and next weekend as well?
Next Friday.
And next Friday, brilliant. So people watching and listening to this can still, how do they get involved in those?
All on the Castlemas website.
All on the Castlemas website.
Castlemas.
Amazing. And so you're a vendor as well, so people can come for some Freckles delights.
Yes.
What can we get?
We're all about toasties, aren't we? So
I love a toastie.
I
haven't eaten yet, so I might have to come and get a toastie off you, love.
Yeah, I'm all about the toasties, but do you know, it's not your normal. It's not your M&S toastie.
Is it not?
No.
Well, M&S are pretty good, so I mean, we're smashing the M&S toasties. Yes. Fantastic.
So yeah, no, a little bit of toasties. I make all the salads myself, because I'm that kind of crazy.
So handmade on the spot by Laura, in person by Laura.
My team just basically hate me.
I'm sure they do.
But yeah, toasties and picnic bags for kids. Again, I'm all about, you know, how can we give kids something really engaging but really nutritious? So it's like toasted wraps, hummus, veg sticks, popcorn, sausage rolls, brownies.
Nice.
And it's all in a little bag, and they pick it all out. Hungry. And yeah, come and have a toastie.
I'm gonna. And the vendor, I mean, it's so lovely to have this kind of Christmassy feel, isn't it? Because obviously we've had this in Tonbridge Wells. Obviously we've got the skate rink and stuff like that. But here, they've not had anything like this. No,
I think I agree. And actually, I think that the skate rink could come and learn a little bit from here.
It's the guys at Bravo are fabulous. You know, they've done so well. I think they're absolute professionals. Everyone that's come on said it's really great to work with them.
Yeah.
And obviously Jess has helped with TN Card.
Yeah.
She's got behind this, hasn't she, with the vendors? We're going to be talking to her later, and it's just great. I just think bringing it all, and actually it's really nice. Tonbridge Wells and Tonbridge bringing it all together.
Definitely. It's a real hero show of local businesses, and I think that is so special and nice, and the team are just, and it's the attention to detail, isn't it? Right.
Yes.
So that's what, for me, from an events perspective, like I'm super particular about that, and I think, you know, it's things like that they've thought about.
Absolutely.
And that's quite unusual for a first year.
Really, it doesn't feel like a first year.
No, not even nearly. So no, I think they've done an amazing job.
They're putting the rest of us to shame. They're very, very good. But no, I mean, they really deserve all the success, and you guys do. So people need to come over here, buy some toasties, do some workshops. And if people want to find out more about you and what you do, Laura, what's the best place for them? Not you personally. I mean, you can if you want. I mean,
normally, I normally
my phone number is But if you'd like people to find out a bit more about your workshops, about Freckles, about your products, about the cafe, tell people where they need to go.
Online, so it's all on one website because my headspace couldn't deal two platforms.
Very intelligent.
It's the-inside.co.uk.
Brilliant.
And that's got everything there. Well,
I can find everything about
I haven't really updated the website in like forever because I haven't had time. But anyway.
What about your Instagram?
Instagram, Freckles. So it's freckles.on.the.inside.
Brilliant.
You know, not too short. So look on the ground. That's got all the products on there.
Brilliant. Amazing. Oh, well, I hope you have a lovely day, and it's been super to chat. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for asking me.
I just thought if I could get you on, it would be nice to chat to you. It's about time, Laura. So,
it's been a while.
Well done.
Thanks,
and
darling.
listen, just keep going with what you're doing. And, you know, these bumpy bits, they make us appreciate the other bits.
100%.
So, 100%. You know, I know you're very positive, and you will get through it. And everyone needs to go and support all that you're doing. So.
And all of the
and
other
everybody,
locals.
of course.
Share the love.
Share the love, people. But for now, we're going to share some Christmas love at Castlemas, and I'm going to come and get a toasty with you.
Sweet. Okay.
All right. Lovely to talk to you.
You too, darling.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.